don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very special, normal, regular edition of the 333rd episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey, as always, and I want to apologize about being a little bit late. Sometimes it's my fault. Sometimes it's our guest's fault. If we've got someone that can't connect or something like that. And tonight is the fault of information. Sometimes we are going to be bringing you information that we get at the very last minute. And so and sometimes it's Kate's fault. Tonight, thank God, was not the fault of myself. It was not Kate's fault. It's not a guest's fault. There is no guest tonight. It's the fault of the information that's coming in tonight. The information that we're going to be bringing you is hot off the presses. Brand new information coming in. It's going to be great. I've actually been planning about talking about tonight's episode since last night. That being said, I've been getting information that pertain to this episode like on and off all day. And I have to say, that is a good problem to have. It means that there's been a lot of stuff going on that's pertaining to what we're going to be talking about. And the information has been checked. It has been vetted. The information is current. It's up to date. It's proper. There's no kind of weird flam-flammy stuff. It's all legitimate. So I feel confident in talking about everything that we're going to be talking about. Obviously, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Political Spotlight. This is just a regular Monday evening show. We're normally here at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're just a little late tonight. I am so sorry for that. I'm still in the process of sending this out everywhere. But please do us the favor, as all content creators say to you, do the things that you know you're supposed to do. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do. Comment in either the box to the side or the box below as you continue to share the link with everyone you know. That's going to help us. We need you to do it. That's what gets the message out, because as everyone knows, this is obviously first and foremost about likes, clicks, and views. It's about becoming uber famous and being known worldwide, making lots of millions and millions of dollars. And somewhere down the list behind that is spreading awareness and making sure people are educated and yada, yada, yada. So, okay. And it's really, Kate's the one that's been making me say that. Kate is the one that is craving the fame and being out in front. Matter of fact, as soon as we become famous, I'm going to move to being the producer, and Kate's going to be the one that's on screen every night talking and going crazy. And that's her evil plan. We can only hope. So we're going to be talking tonight about a couple of different topics. We're going to be talking tonight. And for those of you that have been watching for the last little bit and you've said, hey, where's the Muncie stuff? Where's the Delaware County stuff? I'm like, dude, it's good if shit's not going sideways in your community every now and then. But like I've always said, you know, it's never far away, okay? It's never like, you know, too far off. Just because something isn't maybe going on right now that we're talking about doesn't mean that something isn't happening behind the scenes that we're going to then later find out about and say, whoa, wait a minute, that was going on then, and need to talk about. Well, in the last couple days and weeks, we've been focusing on all of this other content going on in other communities. We've been focusing on a lot of national politics because that has been the thing that, you know, has been on everyone's mind here lately. Good, bad, right, wrong, or indifferent. And there's been a lot of stuff going on. But as I've always cautioned you, the things going on in our neck of the woods at home, you know, it's never like just peaceful for too long. It's always just around the corner. And it seems like I teased this a little bit last night when we had Catherine on talking about the problems going on in Madison County, because some of what she was talking about also, no news is good news. I was just saying that to someone today, Jackie. Literally, I was saying that to someone today. No news is good news. You know, I always had the family that, you know, when I would leave and be driving to like Florida for spring break, they would always be like, call me as soon as you get there so we know that you're not like crashed. And I'm like, look, you know, I'll try, but if you don't hear anything from me, it's good news. If I crash in Tennessee and I'm dead on the side of the road, I promise you, you're going to get a phone call. So if you don't hear anything, it's good news. Yeah, in politics, I always say it's good-ish, or it means that the shit is getting ready to hit the fan. One of those two things. So in GW, I know, I get that feeling. I completely understand that. So, to let you guys know kind of where we're going this evening, tonight's episode 333, I'm calling it Seeing Red, and you'll understand why here in a moment. I've got an amazing thumbnail that I put together. It wasn't a whole lot of information or time put into this thumbnail, but it seems fitting to me. Ryan, if you ever run into Chris out in public, he's really fond of bro hugs, close talkers. Make sure to say hi. Tonight's episode is called Seeing Red, and here we've got Big Head Ed the Big Head right here. He's seeing red. We're going to be talking about that. So tonight's agenda, we're going to be examining the ongoing issues with the Delaware County, Indiana Auditor Ed Carroll. Republican Ed. Ed and his team's continued screw-ups continue to undermine the integrity of his office and make the rest of the Delaware County government look like an unprofessional joke. And I hate that, because there are a lot of good people that are going to work each and every day for the Delaware County government. And there are a lot of good people that are really busting their butt, making things work. And then you've got jokers out there that are doing God knows what. And it's like making it all go to hell. So we're going to be talking about that. And listen, I know Ryan's on here, but this is not just outspoken Delaware County Councilor Ryan Webb or myself making these claims. No. It's the current Delaware County employees, that are working there. It's current department heads and other elected officials who are making these claims that I'm going to be bringing to you tonight. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also, towards the end, going to talk about the ongoing rift, as we started to talk a little bit last night about Governor-Elect Mike Braun and Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, and what it means for those who were hopeful that the boy wonder was going to be able to make some big changes in Indiana's chief executive office. I'll also look at how the good old establishment Republicans in Indiana are starting to let it be known through little drip outs and through the writings on the wall that property tax reform likely won't be a big push, at least not in 2025. Who's been saying this since July of 2024? And then lastly, we will end with a response that I have to a listener who asked a really good question today. I got a message from a listener who asked the question, what can or what should the public do if and when elected officials violate our rights? And so we'll talk a little bit about that at the very end. So we've got a big show. I'm off screen here just 1 second, trying to finish this last little bit. The part of the problem with getting information from people right at the last minute means I don't always get a chance to have things set up the way that I would have liked. Give me 1 second. I will be back on screen here with you, seeing your comments. And listen, this is seriously a thing. Please share this around to your Delaware County friends and family, because this is a big deal. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to see here. So, okay. Let me see. What is this? Okay. All right. So what I'm doing, Kate, is I'm sending messages. Most of these I will just show by way of putting them in the showing them in the screen. So you don't got to worry about putting any of those up. So if any of you follow me on social media, you'll be aware that yesterday, for those of you that are watching live, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Monday evening. This is now 9:24 p.m. on Monday, November 18th, 2024. Hello and happy birthday to my youngest brother out there in the world. It is his birthday today, so happy birthday to the youngest brother. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Zig Ziglar, absolutely. That's always a good one. Absolutely. I remember watching Zig Ziglar back in middle school. So for those of you that follow me on social media, you'll know that on Sunday, I made a post on social media that we talked about briefly last night in the midst of kind of what Catherine was going on about and was talking about last night. And it was about the auditor's office and this ongoing problem that, so I want to be clear. Ed has only been auditor for 2 years. And there's something that you need to know about Ed Carroll. Everyone acts like Ed Carroll is some kind of genius, like he's some kind of major mind, and he's like such a thinker, and he's like really deep in thought, and he's a strategist, and he's this political dynamo. I think he is a bumbling idiot. Listen, maybe he's genius because he doesn't really open his mouth because he knows that he doesn't really have much to offer. But there's not a big difference between genius and crazy person if they're both just sitting quietly. You really don't know a difference. They're both just sitting quietly. Ed doesn't really say much. He's really quiet. He sits off to his side. We don't see much. He hides in his office and closes his blinds and hides away from the world and doing the things that he does. It's like nobody even really knows what it is that he's doing. People did the same thing with Victor Whitehead. They were like, look, Victor's making all these wins for the Republicans. No, it was the Republican candidates that were winning. Victor wasn't doing anything. The only thing Victor was doing is the same thing that Ed is doing as a party chairman, keeping people out and killing the party, smushing it out in one of the craziest snuff films that we're all currently watching live. It's happening in front of our very eyes. Yes?
I was just going to say, I don't know what he's doing in his office, but I do know what he's not doing.
Yeah, right. What's he not doing? Listen, he's not working. And that's been the problem. I mean, that has been the issue. A lot of times, listen, what I've heard from folks is he's in there during the day getting paid tax dollars doing Republican Party work. No, that is a big no-no. That should get him in legal trouble. It really should get the county in legal trouble. And look, I don't want that for Delaware County. I don't want Delaware County to be fined and us to be sued and us to be the laughing stock. But man, when you have elected officials that are doing wrong and they won't allow the public to call them out, or the public won't step up and raise the voice loud enough, and you have other elected officials who won't call them out, it's something has to happen. Now, Ryan's been calling it out. Hell, Councilor Ryan Webb, he filed a formal complaint with the Indiana Secretary of State's office. Now, I've talked to those people down there, and I'm aware that an investigation was started. I've never heard that an investigation has been closed. To my knowledge, the investigation is still underway. Those people that do those things, they don't work, with lightning speed. It sometimes takes a long while. So is Ed currently under investigation? Maybe. I don't know. I sure hope. I hope they didn't drop the ball. I hope they're looking into what's going on because, man, there is a problem. So when we're talking about Ed, that a lot of these people run around thinking that he's some amazing person in politics locally, he's not. He's never won a race against another human. Yeah, Ed, and Eddie. And all three of those characters are that same man, and it's very strange. One of them is the elected counselor. One of them is the elected auditor. One of them is the party chairman, and one of them is a precinct committee person. And he sucks at all those jobs. It's not like he ran against another individual to win any office. He ran for treasurer and had no opponent. And he won because he was the only person that went out for it. So he won. Then the auditor position came open and he caucused in for it. And then Brad Polk caucused into the treasurer. See, we just have a lot of people that are just like, take one step to the left. You know, it's like, whatever, the cha-cha slide or whatever of politics in Muncie City and Delaware County politics. You know, if you can just be a Republican elected official and get into one seat, you can be every seat if you want eventually, save for prosecutor, sheriff. Well, you could be sheriff. You don't have to be a cop to be sheriff. So save for prosecutor and judge, you could technically be every other seat if you want. Just got to hang around for long enough. So Ed has never beat other candidates for these seats. He's always lucked into the positions he's in. And he was beaten as precinct committee person. And how do I know that? Because the man, the myth, the legend, David Williams, who beat Ed as precinct committee person, is right here. He beat him. He beat Ed. Think about this. Ed Carroll's the big esteemed auditor. I'm the auditor. What's not his fault? That he never ran against any other individual. It's not his fault. It is. I'm not blaming him for it. I'm just saying it doesn't take political strategy to step up and run for a seat that no one else is running for. So it's not his fault. However, it doesn't mean that he's a big political dynamo. It just means literally any other sod could have wrote their name down as a Republican in that position, and nobody else would have done it, and they would have got in. So I could have done it, and I'm going to tell you right now, I can't count 5 fingers on one hand. I have no business being treasurer or auditor. But had I put my name in for it, maybe I could have been it, you know. So I don't blame him for it. I'm just saying when everyone else says like, ooh, I'm just saying he's just not. His wins are not the same thing as an opponent who fought a hard-fought campaign against another person or so, okay? However, what is his fault is the work that he has done and or not done in the office since he's been there. Now, straight away, right when he went into the auditor's office, there were several screw-ups right away. And the thing that went around was, well, he's new to the office. He's new to the office. Give him time. Okay. I can understand that. I can take that. And while I might have called out the mess ups from early on, we didn't just completely nail him to the wall for them because, look, I get it. I get there are sometimes growing pains and whatnot. All right. What? Your whites still normal? I don't know what that means. Your whites. What whites? Your whites still normal? You'll have to fill me in. I don't know what that means. I'm still normal. anyways, so even though Ed was new to the office, he has an office full of employees that have been there. Well, what does he start doing? Well, he starts firing people. And because of how he was to his employees, I was going to say that didn't seem like that was something that was meant for us. I don't know. If somebody mixed up their whites and colors, let us know. How's your whites doing? What kind of chat are you in, Tweety Bird? Are your whites still normal? Jesus. All right. Anyways, moving on. I can understand him needing some time in the office. How long does he need, though? Well, then it's like, okay, well, maybe he needs time, but he needs to lean on the people who are in his office who have expertise. However, he wasn't doing that. He was running those people out. They were quitting. They were leaving. People who had been working in that office, working in county government for a long time, he was pushing out. He was pushing out of working where they had been, and not for any really valid reasons, but it was because he was hard to get along with. So then, they were leaving, he was firing them, all these different things. So now we're faced with an office where he hired a bunch of new people. So stand by, Jackie, I will answer that. So then what happened was, now he's in an office where he's making mistakes, and they're saying, well, he's new. And now they're saying, well, now his staff is new. And so there's growing pains, and you're just going to have to forgive us for the mistakes. Okay. And it's like, all right, I can understand that. Like, I'm not real happy about it, but I can play ball with that thought. How long do you need? How long are the growing pains going to last? How long are the bills not going to be paid in our EMS stations? Are APs going to come out and cut the power off to our EMS stations? They're not going to be able to open the garage doors to get out to your granddad when he falls downstairs, or to the car wreck, or to the heart attack, or to the drug overdose, or to the shooting. That's a horrible thought. Well, we called EMS and the guy would have lived, but they couldn't get here because the power was shut off. They couldn't charge up the AEDs and the machines because the power's been shut off because the auditor didn't pay the bills this month. It's growing pains. Okay, he's now been in the office for 2 years, though. And as David has said, how's any of this happening? They hired the guru of gurus, who are able to do the job from Texas and be getting paid $35 an hour on it. He wasn't happy that the county council was like, no, we're only going to give him $20. So then they go to the commissioner's office and they get that jacked up through like edit or contractual agreements or something. And Sherry's like, well, he is well worth it. He brings a lot of training and experience to the office, and he's going to be well worth it. Well, why is all this stuff happening? Why is it happening? So I'll get back to that in a second. Let me answer Jackie's question. Do the county commissioners legally have supervisory role over the county department heads? And the answer to that is yes. So when we're talking about department heads like the 911 director, so you got to look at this like, look at the city of Muncie or any other city, Anderson, Indianapolis, Los Angeles. The mayor appoints the department heads for the cities. The mayor appoints the HR director. The mayor appoints the deputy mayor if the position is funded, or the communications director if the position is funded. The mayor appoints the street department supervisor. The mayor appoints the chief of police, the fire chief, yada, yada, yada. Well, now you move to Delaware County, or any county for that fact, specifically here in Indiana, in all 92 counties. The commissioners, the 3 commissioners, are the executives of the county, and so they are like the mayors of the county, and they appoint the department heads. So like the 911 director, the EMS director, the EMA director, the street superintendent, all of these people are appointed by the commissioners, and they basically work at the commissioner's pleasure, like any department head works for at the pleasure of the mayor. Like the mayor can appoint a new police chief or new fire chief anytime he wishes. The commissioners could appoint a new street superintendent or a new EMS director, or any of the other department heads, at their pleasure. Now, Ed obviously is an elected position, so he's not a department head. So he is elected by the people, or in his case, he was not elected by the people. Rather, he was elected by the precinct committee people, who at the time, most of them he possessed the power over because he appointed them. And so he was appointed in by his people. So the majority of the citizens did not elect him. But he's been there for 2 years now. And while we continue to have credit cards not being paid and all of this other stuff, I have no idea. Now, I told you at the end of last week into yesterday, into the weekend, and really yesterday, I started being inundated with people who were saying, uh-oh, something's going on with Ed's office again. And it's like a running joke. Like everybody's pretty much just expects it to happen. So like people are now starting to do extra stuff that really they didn't or shouldn't need to do, because it should be being done by the auditor's office, but the auditor's office is out of whack. So people are like having to take on more work. The department heads are having to take on more work and do all of this other extra weird stuff that they shouldn't have to do. It's just, a pain in the ass. It is what it is, whatever. Okay. So as I stated yesterday, I received a text message that says, just wanted to tell you that Ed's office has effed up again. The county charge cards were turned off. This is a constant problem. And I had already received another email, or I received a text message, but I had already received an email stating that claims were not being paid by Ed and his office. Not good. Okay, that's not good. This is like, I don't know, Ryan or David, if you guys know, if one or the other of you, that's it. Yeah, you're right. It's making sure the claims are getting paid, that's the thing. He also was doing things like where they were screwing up the minutes of the meetings. A lot of people don't know that the auditor, comparing it back to city government, like the auditor's kind of like the controller. They do similar jobs that pay like the claims of the building and do the day-to-day stuff. Where, people's like, well, wait a minute, isn't the council the fiscal body? Well, yeah, they make the appropriations, but the guy that is physically making sure that the stuff gets done is the auditor. But another part of his job is he is the secretary to the commissioners and to the council. He's the keeper. Well, the clerk is the keeper of court and legal records. The auditor is the keeper of the claims and contractual records and payment and things like that. So they're in charge of payroll and paying the claims and the contractual, all of that kind of stuff. Hello there, Brenda. Welcome. So, all right, I make my post yesterday, and I immediately, specifically themselves, I immediately say, all right, well, so I've made the post and I've tagged elected officials, but while I do think they should be able to respond on social media, and hey, look, Ryan Webb responded. He responded to my post yesterday, and people might say, well, it's not very nice. It's not very nice what he said. No, it's just the truth, though. So let me explain to you what happened, because you guys didn't know this yesterday. When I read this to you, when we were talking yesterday, you guys didn't hear this. So to my comment where I talked about the charge cards being screwed up yesterday, I get comments that read as follows. Councilor Ryan Webb says, Ed is horrible at being both the Republican chairman and as Delaware County auditor. This man is terrible at managing people. By the way, Ed has never won anything. He has held all of his positions due to not having an opponent for voters to choose from or being caucused in, yada, yada, yada. I say, back to Ryan, isn't that funny? And everyone, well, not everyone, but many people walks around softly around him, calling him some kind of uber smart person or really intense. Yet here is a man who has never won any election to be where he is. He's never been nothing but a disappointing screwball. And honestly, he seems a bit off. I mean, if it is who people want to look up to, great. But as for me, I'm like, thanks, but no thanks, I'll pass. Frank Russell says, not everyone is part of the party, meaning the Republican Party, nor do they want to be part of it. Who wants to partake in being a stuck-up asshole who thinks their shit don't stink? All right, I can understand that. Kevin Fentner says, how many Democrats are on the council? Why isn't the Dem on the election board speaking up? Uniparty is a horrible thing in any government. It's corrupt 100% of the time. I can understand that. This is what really is interesting to me. A former employee who did wonderful for Delaware County, who had been in the auditor's office doing a damn good job for years and years and years. But when Ed took over, almost instantly started having problems after problems, and they were hassling her and causing all sorts of issues to the point she said, I can't take it any longer. That person is Denise Smith, and she said it is shameful because he wasn't like this in the treasurer's office. He is in over his head with his princess behind every step. Now, there's some inside information there. You all don't know who that is. I'll explain here in a bit, but that's interesting coming from a former employee. Then another former employee comments on my comment and says, nearly all of his staff are new, less than 2 years experience because he ran off all of the talent he had in the office. Take care of the people around and they will take care of you. He has his favorites, and those favorites think they know it all, but they don't. Now, I want to be clear. I can't give you a solid information. I can't give you solid information like on a specific number, but I want to say at one point we were talking about anywhere from 9 to like 11 people being terminated and or quitting, walking out, leaving, finding another place from that office. That is a lot. That's a lot. John, you're early as far as a lot of people are concerned. Okay, Mr. Nickham says, was this situation addressed in the commissioners' meeting this morning? Will the county council address this issue? Number one, no, unfortunately, this was not addressed in the commissioners' meeting this morning. A lot of people feel like it was. Okay. A lot of people feel like it was. And I will explain to you why that is here in just a moment, but it wasn't really addressed, and we will go over all of that. But this situation was kind of talked about a little bit. I'll explain. And number two, Tim says, will the county council address this issue? Listen to me. I think they have to. They have to. Will they? I don't know. I'll take that back. We are like Madison County. Last night, Catherine was talking about how the council is really broken up. The divide is not like 3, 4, 2, 5. The divide over there is 6-1. It's everyone else and then Bethany Keller. Well, the divide in Delaware County, it's kind of like 6-1, where Ryan is the one that asks all the questions and puts the information out. And sometimes he'll get help from like Bill Hughes, and sometimes he'll get help from Matt Kantz. But then sometimes he doesn't. So do I think that Ryan Webb will address this? Listen, we have a council meeting. Today's the 18th. The council meeting, unless anything changes because of the holiday, Ryan Webb, are you here? Do you know? Is the council meeting this month changing because of the holiday? I don't know why it would. If it doesn't, it will be a week from tomorrow, which will be Tuesday the 26th. Whenever it is, if it's a week from tomorrow or if it's sometime earlier or whatever, all right, so it's not, all right, so it is next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. I fully believe Ryan will bring something up about this. And I'm going to drop some information on you here in a minute. We've got some late breaking news about this that's going to gobsmack everybody, or should. So today is the third Monday of the month. And what happens on the third Monday of the month? Well, the third Monday of the month, the Delaware County commissioners get together and they hold a meeting. And, sometimes they talk about things that are relevant. Sometimes they don't. Just depends. What's really sad, and I'm going to have to go back and look, but basically since James King lost in the primary, he has been listen, I understand he's lame duck, but I there's no excuse. James King is getting paid to be a commissioner until 11:59 p.m. on December 31st. That means I expect him to have his head in the game and his ass in the seat, or resign and allow them to go ahead and caucus Brandon for the next month and a half and just get the ball rolling. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with either one, really. I'm tired of James King. I just want him to go away. People say, well, isn't it better when he's not there? Well, no, because that means he's getting paid for not doing anything. And I'm not okay with that. I can't even think of how many meetings he's missed since May, but it's not good and it's not okay. So obviously you can tell by me bitching about this that he was not at today's meeting. He's not been at the meeting for several meetings. Like, what he does is he takes like 2 or 3 meetings off, and then he goes to a meeting, and then he takes the second meeting of the month off, and then he's like gone for a couple of meetings, and then and that's just, it's just nuts. So we're not going to listen to this whole thing, but we're going to listen to a couple minutes. Today's Delaware County meeting, commissioners meeting, lasted just under 30 minutes. Okay. And so there's a couple things that are going to be of interest to you. So keep in mind, there are a lot of different issues. Let's do this. Let me tell you this. So the issues so everyone's aware. What are the big issues with Ed? Well, the big issues with Ed, to me, in the most important, are the way that he treats citizens, the ineptitude of how he and his office runs when citizens are in there. That's the biggest problem. There are citizens that complain and say that they just flat out say they're not going to do work for them. They won't do stuff for them. There are citizens that say that he and his staff are rude and unhelpful, and it's just a hassle dealing with them. People say that they hate going up there and dealing with his office. It is a hassle, and they say it's not always been that way. To me, that's big problem number one, because he's a public servant and he should be treating the citizens with the utmost respect and doing everything he can for them. That's the biggest issue. Now, from there, what's the next biggest issues? Well, how he treats the county employees, how he pays for or doesn't pay for the things that they need when he doesn't pay their bills, and he makes the county look. He makes the county look like one of those broke renters that just won't pay their bills, and, they're always late and their credit's shot. That's not how the county's supposed to be working. Like, we're not broke. We're not, I know we got some issues, but we're not like that. They're just not doing their job. And that's not okay. It's not acceptable. Oh, Tweety Bird. I think you're really confused on what I'm mostly worried about. There's a whole plethora of things. I don't know necessarily that Ryan mistreats people. I think that Ryan has an opinion different of others. Maybe he goes about differently than, say, I would or other people, but, people are allowed to have differing opinions. My issues with Ed is he's just simply not doing his job. If you've missed that fact, I don't know what you've been doing, but I've been talking about it now for 47 minutes. So Ed doesn't pay the bills. Ed is not paying the credit cards. And this has happened multiple times. One of the other big issues is he didn't take taxes out on the county employees for like the year 2023 or for the start of 2024. Like he cost those people lots of money. Lots and lots of money. Okay? So that's a problem. Well, now in this newest batch of issues, he's not getting claims paid. He's not getting the credit cards paid. And we went over last night. Not paying the credit cards for the county is a problem, okay? Now, we went into today's commissioners meeting, and this is... Brenda, you tell me. Stay here, Brenda. We're getting ready to go over an email I think that will blow your mind. Just stay right here. We're almost there. So this is what happens in this meeting, and we're not going to listen to the whole thing. I'm just going to let you hear a couple quick parts, all right? So briefly, James King's not here, all right? That's a shame.
Welcome to the Delaware County Commissioners meeting of Monday, November the 18th, 2024. And we are so pleased to be here today, and we are ready for the roll call, please.
Steinrich. Here. Reagan.
Yes.
King. Ruck. Present.
Okay, under table business, I think we have quite a few that need to be addressed.
All right, under tabled business. So this is things that have been brought up in the past, but have been tabled. Now, I don't know exactly when this was initially tabled. I'll have to go back and look to see when this was initially tabled, but I do know that it's not something that was brought up today. So this is something. So a couple people said, well, look, they were talking about something pertaining to the credit card situation. No, this did not necessarily pertain to this most recent situation with the credit cards. It's just kind of a coincidence, but listen to this.
Rest.
All right, I'll make a motion first to take, ordinance number 2024-011, ordinance rescinding resolution number 2007-006, and creating a credit card use policy for county employees and public officials.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Okay, I know that was a bunch of mumbled bullshit because these people don't care about the public hearing or whatever, and so they only care about themselves. They're not doing what they should be doing. But what that mumbled mess was Shannon Henry saying that he was making a motion to take off the table ordinance number 24-011, which is an ordinance to amend an older ordinance or older resolution, a number, and that it's a comprehensive credit card ordinance, okay? And so he made the motion, and when people heard that, their ears popped up because they heard credit card. That was what Bilbrey posted about. This got nothing to do with my post last night, nor does it have anything to do with Ed not paying the bills in this most recent last week or two. Okay, this is something they've been working on, but I want you to listen about this. So it was on the table, which means that whatever time they originally talked about this, they didn't have enough information about it or whatever. For whatever reason, they tabled it. I want you to listen to the discussion that goes into this as they make this. Listen to this. So he made the motion to pull it off the table. She seconded that. Now they're going to roll call to decide whether it comes off the table or not. And here's the thing. If one person says yeah, they're both going to say yes.
Reagan.
Yes.
Henry. Yes. King.
Okay, John, would you like to fill us in on that?
Sure.
Okay, so they voted to pull it off the table. Now, John Brook is going to fill us in on this ordinance. Listen to what he says.
With regard to ordinance 2024-11, this is the, what we call the credit card use policy, ordinance. There have been, substantial discussions between, the auditor's office, commissioner's office, and various departments about changing or tweaking what was the original document or original ordinance that was sent to all of you, and coming up with a comprehensive credit card policy. I believe that the most recent version that I sent to you the other day incorporates all that. Sarah was kind enough to take out the highlights, so I'd shown I'd made the changes for you. So I think this is the final version. Ed has passed off on it too, and it's ready to go for adoption to amend and really replace our previous credit card policy.
So we could always improve it later on if we find out we missed something.
And we can always approve it later on if we find out. This is like a thing that the county's doing now. Instead of making sure that the things that we're passing now are done in the very possible best way possible, they're like, let's just do it half-assed. And if we find out we screwed up later, we can always fix it later. Yeah, it don't matter. I hate this kind of government. This is not what it's supposed to be doing.
Would you like to go ahead and take care of it now?
Yes. Okay.
I'll make a motion, we adopt ordinance, 2024-011.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Henry. Yes. Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Thank you.
Well, wow, that passed. So, wow, that passed. It passed 2-0. King's not there. Those two passed. There was no discussion about this. The public has no idea what this is about. We've got no understanding about what the hell's going on. I'm not sure they know what's going on. They didn't allow any department head to get up and speak on this, for or against. I'm not sure any department heads even knew that this was going to be discussed or pulled off the table today. Matter of fact, I know they didn't, because we're going to hear from the elected sheriff in just a moment. And he's not a department head, but he's an elected official. And this pertains to department heads and elected officials. And he should have been there. Now, John Brook brought up Ed Carroll, and they're talking about this being a credit card use policy. I don't know. Does this have anything to do with the credit card payment? Now, let me tell you, folks, if you think I'm getting ready to unpause this and we're going to hear anything more, it's over. That's it. What we heard there, they took this off the table. They said nothing about it. Nothing. And they voted on it without any discussion, any input from the citizens, any input from the council, or any input from each other, I mean the commissioners, any input from department heads or any other employees. And if we find out something's wrong with it later, we can go through the pros and later. You know what I mean? That is not how this is supposed to work, okay? Now, what I want to do, Elva, hello there, sir. We'll have a Blackboard assignment for you to write in just a bit. What I want to do, just briefly, is because I know a lot of people are questioning this, I want to show you what this ordinance is, so there's no kind of confusion. I went into quick action today, and when this first happened, I sent a record request to John Brook at like 11 o'clock today, and I asked him to send me the most recent, latest copy of this ordinance. And boom, bang, pow, he did it. Like, I couldn't believe it. I got it today. I was quite shocked. So I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see this. No problem, Alva. I get it, buddy. But I'm going to just read this to you. I'm going to post this up on social media afterwards. You'll be able to find this on my Facebook, on Twitter, and you'll be able to find it in the description of Ordinance 2411, an ordinance rescinding resolution number 2007-006 and creating a credit card use policy for county employees and public officials. Whereas the Board of Commissioners adopted Resolution 0706 regarding the creation of credit cards by employees of Delaware County and public officials, whereas they were granted authorization, the Indiana State Board of Accounts has established guidelines for government unit regarding the use of credit cards, which has been updated and revised since 2007. The Delaware County Commissioners desire to standardize the use of credit cards by Delaware County employees in a manner consistent with the guidelines of the Indiana State Board of Accounts. Now, therefore, be it ordained, purpose and creation of the credit accounts. Department heads and elected public officials shall create credit accounts with their various vendors as a primary method of payment for goods, services, and products, rather than rely upon county-issued credit cards. Every effort shall be made to make payments directly through vendor by setting up a sales tax exempt account with vendor and obtaining invoices rather than paying with a credit card. Purchases of goods using credit cards should be rarely used and only as a last resort method of payment. Credit cards are not intended to be a method to bypass accounting process and internal controls of the county. Purchase orders shall be used in lieu of credit cards as much as possible. Clear. I agree. Credit card request form: whenever the elected official and or department head desires to request a new credit card, changes in the user credit card, or change in the credit limit, the elected official and or department head shall complete the credit card request form from the auditor's office and submit the form to the Board of Commissioners for review or approval. The approval of the Board of Commissioners shall send the approval credit card form submitting office to the auditor's office. The credit card request form shall be amended from time to time. And what I think they miss here is letting this go to the council. The council's the fiscal body of the county. Why the county council is removed from that is, in my opinion, ignorant. It's just the way that the commissioners want to hold on to as much power and not give the council anything in any way. It's ridiculous. 3, the credit card use. Delaware County Commissioners authorize the use of credit cards. Delaware County employees under the direction in various office department heads and public elected officials in accordance with these adopted county guidelines set forth in this ordinance and applicable laws and regulations of the State Board of Accounts. Okay. Next, use of the credit cards. The Board of Commissioners authorized the creation and use of credit cards by employees of elected officials to purchase certain services and or products as authorized by this ordinance only for the following purposes. Travel expenses. A purpose for the use of credit cards is for the expense incurred while traveling, such as hotels, gas if in a county vehicle while traveling, and the gas card is not available for use. Meals and other travel as permitted by the Delaware County travel policy. Education and seminars. An employee or elected public official may use the credit card to register an educational training or otherwise work-related seminar in the event that an account cannot be set up to secure attendance by the designated individuals. The county-issued credit cards may also be used to purchase educational seminar or workshop related to materials that are part of the training session. Goods. Goods may be purchased only if there is an extreme need or necessity for the purchase of goods, such as materials, products, food, or other items that are required from time to time. The user of the credit card shall document the use and verify that the use of the credit card for these purchases is related to legitimate county business. Services shall be only charged for the credit due to unavoidable circumstances or in the event of an emergency. The Board of Commissioners may permit such expenditures as needed by the department or elected official. Online purchases. Purchasing online should be done with the utmost care to protect the credit card data and should follow all department purchasing guidelines, use agreements, and policies. Prohibited uses of county-issued credit cards. Utility expenses or costs. At no time shall the county-issue credit card be used for payment of the utility expenses such as gas, electricity, water, cable, internet, or any other utility expense for a building, operation, or conduct of county business. The Board of Commissioners may permit such expenditures as needed by department heads or elected officials. Obviously, for personal expenses, the credit card shall be only used for the approved business expenses. Personal expenses should not be purchased with a county-issued credit card. If personal expenses are charged with a county credit card, the elected public official, department head, or employee shall be responsible for paying those personal charges. Personal expenses charged with the county credit card will be investigated and may be grounds for revocation of the credit card, termination of employment, and or possible charges under state and federal laws. Any and all personal expenses that are charged with the county-issued credit card shall be deducted from the salary or pay of the elected public official, department head, or employee. Okay. Cash advances. The credit card may not be used to obtain cash advances at any time. Well, of course. Automatic reoccurring charges. No arrangements shall be made to have an automatic reoccurring charge billed to the county credit card unless there are unavoidable circumstances. The Board of Commissioners may permit such expenditures as needed by any department or elected official. Sales tax exemption. All users of the county-issued credit cards. Accounting system. Each Delaware County department head and elected official shall be responsible to maintain an accounting system or log which includes the names of each individual requesting usage of the credit cards, their position of employment, the estimated amounts to be charged, and the county fund and account number to be charged, the date the card is used and returned, and any other details required by the Delaware County Auditor. Elected public official and department head responsibility. The official or department head who authorizes the use of the card is responsible to provide sufficient account information to the Delaware County Auditor so that the expenditure for the appropriation can be tracked to provide timely and accurate accounting information for monitoring the accounting system. The elected public official or department head is also responsible for assuring each credit card is kept in the department shall be secured when not in use. Supporting documentation. There has to be receipts and paid bills, yada, yada, yada. Credit card statements or credit card slips alone are not sufficient documentation. Segregation of duties. A person in the department or office who reconciles receipts to charges on the credit card statement shall not have the ability to control and maintain the credit card account. That's common sense. Credit limit. The commissioner shall make the determination of the credit limit for each office or department as to the credit available for the individual case-by-case basis. Issuance of credit cards. Credit cards shall bear the name of Delaware County, shall be issued by the Board of Commissioners along by the Board of Commissioners. I think that should be alone, and the Board of Commissioners alone shall determine the number of credit cards issued and to whom they are issued and the amount of credit authorized. And then lastly, interest and late payment fees. Listen, any interest or late payment fees due to late filing or finishing of documentation by an elected public official or department head or employee who uses the credit card shall be the responsibility of that elected public official, department head, or employee. All elected public officials, department heads, or employees are issued a credit card for the use of, in the course of their employment shall allow the county to deduct from their regular salary or pay any amount related to the interest or late payment fees incurred by the county on the credit card. So my question is, when we're not paying this shit and we're racking up fees, are they taking it out of Ed's salary? Sounds like you need to start after today. Revocation of credit card or limit. Commissioner's approval of the use of the credit card should be considered a convenience. If the commissioners consider the use of the credit card or limit as unnecessary or as an abuse by an elected official, department head, or employee, the commissioners may revoke or limit the use of the credit card. Return of credit card. All issued credit cards of the property of the Delaware County and upon a change in employment status, revocation of an elected official and or department head deems a credit card no longer necessary, the credit card shall be returned to the Delaware County Auditor, and the failure to return the credit cards as demanded may result in additional cost to the elected public official, department head, or employee, causing the card to be rendered useless. Effective date. The ordinance shall be effective 10 days after the adoption. It shall be the responsibility of the county's Human Resource Department to send this policy to all elected public officials, department heads, and employees. The policy shall also be incorporated into the Delaware County Personnel Handbook. All right. So there it is. That's everything. Okay. That's it. There
Let
it is.
me tell you, that was riveting.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was, yeah.
Well, airline tickets to Vegas, Alva, would be considered travel. So that would be perfectly fine.
Yeah. So that's that. They voted on this today. They passed it through. It's gone. It's done. It's good. Thank God they're over. They don't have to talk about it again. Everything's good. And it doesn't go in effect for 10 days from today. So, like, Ed's in the clear, okay? Now, that being said, people, this has nothing to do with the fact that Ed has been screwing this up for the last 2 years. I don't know what Ed is doing, why he cannot pay these claims. Now, listen, I have heard that he has been out for the last week. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. So I just want to make clear, they say nothing more about this. Listen, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to unpause this for a minute and let you hear what they do next.
The second one, did you take 2024 days?
I didn't.
Okay. You did not?
I did not.
Okay. Right. I think that one has, we've gone through that one as well. But.
And the, maybe we move that on, Angie, or the bid that we took under advisement.
All right,
Andy
listen, bottom line, they're no longer talking about the credit card. They're moved on. They're talking about other things. I highly recommend you guys going back and watching this episode, this commissioners meeting. Number one, I want you to know they don't talk about shit. They don't discuss things. There is no discussion. They have no one come up and really discuss anything. They have a couple people come to the podium to thank each other. They got a couple really nice awards, and I'm happy they did that. And listen, If the awards were for the outgoing commissioner like James King or whatever, I would not care. Like, get together in your own time and do that. All right.
The grand
As
ordinance,
far as
which
as
incorporates the grand
giving an
policy, we want
attaboy
to just bring up the
to
record and
employees of the county,
ensure that what
I'm here
Wallace,
for that.
which is
I'm good
Mr.
with that.
John
Now,
and
the
Jeremy
first
John
15 minutes of this meeting was spent on tabled crap. Now, they keep tabling stuff because King doesn't show up. They don't have all the information. The commissioners are not fully doing their job, folks. They are phoning it in. They're getting paid lots of money to do a half-assed job. It's really disgusting. I had sent out questions to these people about the credit card situation with Ed, but they didn't talk about it at all today. They did not discuss it in the least. It was insane. They made nothing about that, okay? Now, I do want to say, we get to this point in the meeting,
Jamie,
and they have Jamie Bain get up here. Jamie Bain, of course, is the administrator for the Delaware County Board of Health. Jamie Bain is a badass. He's doing a good job. He's been doing a good job. Jamie Bain received an award. Okay. I just got what you sent, Kate. That's I guess I need to start going to those meetings again. All right. So Jamie Bain got an award for his work in the health department.
Happy to answer any questions about those you may have. I appreciate you supporting Recovery Cafe.
Yeah.
Also want to congratulate you on your latest award. Very well deserved.
Jamie Bain and I did not start out as like friendly. Like, I think we had some things. I don't even know what the issue was, but I love Jamie Bain. Jamie Bain's a badass. He's doing a hell of a job at the Board of Health. And congratulations to Jamie on his award and everything he's doing. Jamie is awesome.
I'd like to make a motion to approve both the Recovery Cafe agreement and the Open Door Health Services agreement.
He's going to do some work with Open Door and Recovery Cafe and get some money to him and help him. Like, they're doing a good job with that. I very much approve in what they're doing. Okay. Next thing, John Catino gets up. He is director of EMA. And he talks about how his people also won an award and got stuff because of their work during the tornado outbreak back on March 14th. And so that's pretty cool. Sounds like Delaware County really shined during that horrible experience. And I know it was a bad thing, and everybody wishes it wouldn't have happened. But the cool thing about it is when it did happen, people didn't ask questions. They just snapped into what they're supposed to do, and everybody kicked ass. And that's from the 911 operators to the EMS to the police to the fire and everybody in between. And they really did a good job, and they deserve all the attaboys they get for that. So I'm proud of that.
Nominated by his jail staff.
Listen to this.
For the Dedication to Excellence Award. That's given out by the National Institute of Jail.
This is my buddy, Jeremy Dye. Jeremy Dye is a badass. He is the jail commander for the Delaware County Jail. I have known Jeremy Dye for 256 years. Jeremy is awesome. I would do anything for that man there. And then, of course, he is standing by that really other amazing, handsome, badass sheriff, Tony Skinner. Love Tony. Those are two of the finest men in Delaware County. It's just like, this was kind of like a stud muffin event at the commissioners meeting today, going from Jamie Bain to Tony Skinner and to Jeremy Dye. Jeremy got an award for excellence by like the National jail thing. I mean, it's an amazing thing. We're being recognized. This is what's so funny. This is why it's so I get so irate by our elected officials. We have badass employees in Delaware County going to work and doing the very best job each and every day. Yeah, we've got some bad apples. We've got some crazy people in the bunch. But on a whole, our elected officials are turds. The majority of them. And it's really this juxtaposition where we've got these badass employees and they're being made to look like fools by the people in charge, and it's so frustrating. And so I want to applaud Jeremy and very cool.
And he won that award for the Central Region of the United States. And he was presented that award at a conference last month down in French Lick. So I would like to publicly recognize Captain Dye for winning that very prestigious award. I wanted to do that publicly, so congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations, Jeremy.
Yes.
Good job.
Well done.
Good job.
Good morning, Matt Cantz, Delaware County Council. Hey, I just wanted to reiterate what Commissioner Henry said about Jamie Bain. He was the recipient of the Greater Muncie Chamber of Commerce Excellence in Public Service Award, which is presented to an individual, organization.
Now listen, this is not the same thing. This is not the same thing as elected officials patting themselves on the back. I have almost no use for that. I don't care about... Nobody made you run. You've got to work and have a job. These people go to work. I'm okay with this. I would be happy to hear this every council meeting. I like this. I like what we're doing here. But this is different than the elected officials patting themselves on the back and saying, look how cool we are. This is them acknowledging the employees, and I like this.
Our company that's made significant contributions.
Matt Cantz is a nerd, but
quality of
is
life
what it
in
is.
the Greater Muncie and Delaware County area. So
I like
congratulations
that.
to
I mean,
Jamie.
he's
He's been doing
I got
excellent
high
job
hopes
his
in Matt.
planning for 2025 and in the Health First Indiana initiative that
I don't
the
know
state,
why.
has provided a bunch of money for. The partnerships you guys mentioned previously, in addition to a bunch of other local nonprofit partnerships that is being established with the health department. So thank you, Jamie.
Thank you. Jamie.
Remember when I had those clear glasses? I think he's trying to steal my look. He'll get blue next time.
Morning, Kyle James, Deputy Director, Delaware County 911.
Listen to this.
I have a couple things to bring up today. First of all, the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials, APCO, has a program called Teammates in Action that they do. I think it's either every month or every other month. I can't remember now. Where they recognize dispatch centers from around the country who have displayed teamwork through adversity and things like that. This one was actually submitted back in April, but we just got it for the November newsletter. And the Teammate in Action Award was to all of the dispatchers that showed up and worked the night of March 14th this year.
Hey, look at
the night
that.
of the tornadoes. We had 6 people on shift that night. And then
This is the deputy director of 911. His boss, the director of 911, is going to make an appearance on the show here in a minute through an email, and it's quite entertaining. So we're going to go ahead and skip through this. I want you guys to hear really quick when the sheriff pops back up here for a second. Okay. So the sheriff was I heard from a source of mine that the sheriff was a few minutes late to the meeting today. And what that means is if he was late by 4 minutes, then he missed the discussion about the credit card thing. So when he got there, he noticed that the credit card ordinance was still tabled. And listen to what the sheriff says when he steps up to the table here.
Sorry, one more thing. Tony Skinner, Delaware County Sheriff. I know you passed the grant ordinance this morning. Can I make a request for the ordinance 2024-011? the credit card ordinance, for somebody to send out the latest version of that to every elected official and department head in Delaware County. So at some point when you decide to take that off the table, that we're educated and prepared to talk about that.
Now listen, listen,
week,
what the sheriff is asking. The sheriff is saying, please, before you guys pass this, bring this to our attention. We want to hear about this. We want to have input. We would like to know what's going on. Don't pass us, please. He didn't know they had already done it. This is why what they do is so asinine. Like, I don't even think they tell, hold on, I forget. Let's listen. Listen to what he says. So he wanted to get this, so we're educated and prepared to talk about that. I didn't listen to this. I know last week,
the sheriff's office, we tried to use our credit card to buy.
Last week, the sheriff's office, we tried to use our credit card to buy
some very important things that go along with our hiring process and the credit card.
Some very important things that go along with our hiring process, and the credit card
was denied.
Was denied. The sheriff of Delaware County, who was put in, has been elected twice by the voters of Delaware County, is standing before the commissioners telling them that he, as an elected official, tried to use the credit card, but it was denied.
Still having problems with that, so I'd like to see a latest.
Still having problems with that. So I'd like to see the latest copy of the credit card ordinance, please. Thank you.
I'd be happy to send it to you, but I think the plan was to have the HR send it out to all department heads and elected officials.
I can send it to you, but I think the plan was to have the HR send it out to all department heads and elected officials. Nobody there had the guts or the balls to tell him, we already passed it. Tough shit. You're out of luck. Hey, tough shit, Sheriff. You're out of luck. We passed it today, bro. We don't care what you got to say. We don't care about your input. We don't care if you can't use it. Oh, well, we're just trying to hire these people to keep people safe on the street, but declined. Dude, what? What?
Ryan's over here in the comments. Can you imagine how embarrassing that must have been? It's beyond just being the embarrassing part.
Yeah.
That not clearing is stopping them from doing their primary job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is having a fully staffed, fully, kitted out, prepared police force.
Right.
What the fuck?
I know, man. It's so bad. Yeah, Kyle Maley, can you believe that is a thing that actually happens? Hard to believe, but that does happen. Hard to believe. Yeah, this is nuts, man. So, number one, Ed is sitting over here. When Tony was saying that, he's looking right at Ed. He's looking right at Ed. And Ed, or maybe, is Ed in there? Was Ed in there today?
Lots of good news. Okay, moving down to
maybe not.
One more thing I wanted to add,
Maybe Ed wasn't.
Wanted to recognize the Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Skinner, Jeff Stanley, and Muncie Police, Nate Sloan, Steve Cox, also
28. Hold on, give me a second. We'll see.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes. Thank you. Now we have some presentations and contracts.
I know you're off screen. Alva is saying that Ed is there.
Okay.
For the farm ground, yes. And just for the record, I think.
See, they scooped out him real quick, so you couldn't even see it. All right, but we've got confirmation that Ed was there. Okay.
Andy Payne from the Sheriff's
So
Department.
Jamie Bain gets
You
up
guys are
to
aware of,
then
firearm
say some
safety
good shit
folks
about the
that we've been
Sheriff's
working
Department
on in
again,
partnership with both of those.
and this thing goes the way it goes.
Yeah, and we have confirmation from Jackie as well. Ed is in the
Okay.
meeting.
Moving down the payment of claims of $29,375,370.68.
What was that? Can you not speak into the mic?
Second, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Ms. King.
Payment of payroll for November the 6th, $985,700.
Okay, so that's it. That's it. All right. That's what we get from them. We don't get any more out. Oh yeah, all right. Ed is there. Yep. So Tony looked right at him, and Ed didn't say anything. You know, Ed pops off at the mouth a lot. Ed says things just here recently. Ed basically attacked and chastised Jessica and Matt Kantz and did all of that. Why didn't Ed say, you know, we're sorry about that. I'm sorry we're bumbling it up. I have no excuse. We'll do better. He don't care. He don't care. He does not care, man. He does not care. So that's that. Okay. So we had a couple people say, well, Tim Nickum said, you know, is this going to be addressed? So bottom line, Ed's screw up? No, it was not addressed in the commissioners meeting today. Will it be addressed on the first meeting in December? I don't know. It should be. It needs to be. Needs to be brought up. He needs to be called on the carpet. Will it be? I don't know. Time will tell. But let me let you guys hear this next bit of insanity. Okay. Again, you're not going to be able to see this because of how it is. Even if we put it in the overlays, you're not going to be able to see this very well. But I am just going to put it on the screen here and let you see it. I will read it to you. And again, I will put this up. On my social media. I'll put it up on Facebook. I'll put it on Twitter, and you'll be able to find it in the, you know what we'll do? I'll just do another drop thing, and we'll have that up. So if you want to find it, you can find that. You'll be able to find the link and go straight to it. I'll just do that. That'll be an easy thing to do. So you'll be able to see it as soon as this episode is over. All right. Well, I think I may have got an answer to my prayers. When I asked last night for someone to step up and ask Ed and talk to Ed and talk to the other people about what is going on, little did I know that person would be none other than Delaware County 911 Director, Mr. Fred Cummings. Now, for you guys that don't know, and Jackie, it's funny that she asked this question because Jackie asked earlier who the who was legally in charge of the department heads. Well, the department heads their bosses are the commissioners. Fred Cummings is the 911 director. His bosses are the commissioners. And sometimes people would think, man, if you start to stir the pot, you might not like what you get. I am thrilled to death with Fred. I think what he did was amazing. I think that his fellow department heads applaud him. The elected officials applaud him, and I'm so happy that he did this. Good for him for doing this, and I want you guys to hear. I want you to be able to hear what he said. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to see if I can find this one more way. Give me 1 second. I don't know if he's got a, no, unfortunately. I thought that he had, I was looking for a picture of him, but apparently we don't have a picture of him. Oh well, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this to you. Oh yeah, okay. Here's Fred. We'll do it like this. I'll just put this up here and let you guys see this just briefly. So, here is, we'll do this. Pop up there, damn it.
Kristopher, I've split this and put it in the overlay, so hopefully it should be easier for everyone to read. They are numbered and ready to go.
You put the whole email? Okay. So first and foremost, I guess, is it the mayor for the person in charge of day-to-day operations in charge of the department heads? That you're talking about, like, for the city government. This is county, so it's the 3 commissioners that are in charge. It wouldn't be the mayor. But what this is, ladies and gentlemen, is this is an email from Fred Cummings to the Delaware County Commissioners, to the Delaware County Council, and to the his fellow department heads. Okay, Fred Cummings is the guy in the bigger box. He's over here. This is Fred Cummings. Okay, you guys have seen him many different times at the podium. Sometimes he'll get in, back and forth kind of pissing matches with them. And I think it's amazing. Now, what he did was, hey, there's been a lot of you late to class. No worries. Thank you for being here. We'll decide your punishment later. What's funny about this is he has this email where he what he does is he is telling the commissioners, and he's telling the council, and he's telling the other department heads what about these issues that he has. Okay. Now, someone brought to my attention, and I made this little parody. And before we get into the seriousness, I want to show you the parody. This is the email he should have sent to the Auditor Ed Carroll from Fred Cummings. Carbon copy the department heads, county council, and commissioners. Reference issues that need to be resolved. Ed. Sincerely, Fred Cummings. That's all he needed to say. He didn't need to say any more. That right there could have taken care of this problem. If he would have sent that right there, problem would have been solved. However, he's a little bit more serious of a person than me, and so he did this. Here's his email. Okay. Let me hide this so you guys can see it. I'll hide the ticker too. So here is Fred's full email. He says he sent this at 1:46 today. He sent it to Auditor Ed Carroll. He sent it to Fred Cummings. He sent it to the department heads, the county council, and the commissioners. Issues that need to be resolved. I am writing this to you with the intent of bringing several issues to your attention and also making sure everyone is on the same page with some concerns that I have, as there are inevitably concerns that others have or will potentially have as well. First, there is the issue of payroll for 2025. Apparently, there will be 27 payrolls coming from the 2025 budget. This is next year's budget. This creates a large problem with the budget. Allow me to explain. The example I will use is my budget in 911. My budget for a dispatcher with under 5 years of experience in 2025 is $49,000 per year. A full-time employee works 2,080 hours per year, 52 weeks at 40 hours per week. Therefore, their hourly rate is $49,000 divided by 2,080 hours for an hourly rate of $23.55 per hour. That's what we will pay them per hour in 2025. That's what the line item is budgeted for in 2025. The problem comes in when we have to pay them an additional 80 hours because of the 27th payroll. That isn't funded in the 2025 budget. But for simple numbers, there should be an additional $1,884 in all of in those $49,000 salary lines, not to mention perf, which is insurance, FICA, etc. How was this missed? This is not something that the 911 director should be bringing up. This is something that the auditor should be bringing up. This is something that the council should be bringing up. This should not fall on the 911 director to figure out while he's trying to also do his job. How was this overlooked? This was something that was never brought up at the budget meetings. The budget, which mind you, the budget meetings this year lasted for like 3 weeks. It was ridiculous. 4 weeks. They lasted a long time. The budget meetings should have been the place to bring this up. I know I didn't know about the 27th payroll period from the 2025 budget until just recently. With salaried employees, I guess we can take our salaries and divide it by 27 pay periods. And that's what we will get per pay period. But you can't do that with hourly employees. You can't spread out their pay over 27 pay periods because the line items are done based off a 2,080 hour per week year, as that is what full-time employees is allotted. I would say he came to this realization. Well, you'll hear this a little bit. You'll hear when I think he came to it. Allotted to work with in 1 year period. I'm guessing that the department heads with 32.5 hours a week employees will face the same issue, as their payroll lines are based off of a 1,690 hour per year. So basically, we as department heads are going to have to get transfers of money done later in 2025 from money we hopefully have enough left over to fund this extra payroll, or ask the council for additional appropriation. I need to understand how this was missed during our budget process. Moving on. Next, I just recently learned that there is a shortage in my disability line item for 2024. I was told it was because the rates weren't adjusted for 2024 when salaries were increased. I don't understand how this happens. I know last year there were several instances where federal withholdings federal withholding tables weren't updated, and several county employees didn't have enough taken from their checks and owed money for the 2023 tax year. I believe Jim Fluke spoke at a meeting and said that the tables were never updated. There should be some kind of a review done by someone so these errors don't occur. While I am on this topic, he says where, but I think he meant were the tables adjusted for this year? I have anxiety that my staff is going to come to me again because not enough taxes have been taken out and they have to pay in again. I am sure there are other department heads that can relate. Moving on. Next, I printed off my up-to-date budget to date with how much I have left. I do this fairly often. So it sounds like, folks, that he is aware that there are problems in the auditor's office. So he is taking further steps to double check and to go through the numbers and make sure, because he is certainly allowed to do this. But most of the other department heads aren't doing this. They're just doing their job. He is going above and beyond doing what he should do, really. But thank God he's doing it. And this is why I think, and where I think all of this started to come from, Tweety Bird. I think he printed this out and he started to look at these issues and he realized, hey, there are several issues that needs to be taken care of. He says, I do this fairly often, especially towards the end of the year. Imagine my surprise when I saw one of the salary lines for one of my staff is over budget by $4,700 as of today's date. Ladies and gentlemen, that means it was in the red. They're in the red. They're over. You're not allowed to be like that in government. All right? That's nuts. He ran this just because he does it, because he's not comfortable with the auditor's office. So he ran this to double check, and he found, along with all of this other bullshit we just talked about, that he has a staff employee that is over budget by $4,700 in their line item. How does this occur without a red flag being put up? I sent Heidi, which is one of his employees, to talk to Tanya, which is one of the employees, one of Ed's princess, because it's obviously a big problem. Heidi learned that another employee has been getting paid out of that line as well. Ladies and gentlemen, they have been paying two employees from the same line item. That is absolutely insane. That is juvenile. That should not be happening. There should be checks and balances and checks to make sure that that's not happening. It's never happened before. The auditor's office in Delaware County has never been this out of whack. It's all because of Ed and his inability to lead the office and this staff that he has cultivated of all newbies that don't have the experience to know better. There's still 6 weeks in this year, but that's not all, Alva. That's 47 in that line item. Okay. She came back and checked, and that employee has been being listed on VIP as being paid out of her own line item, but clearly hasn't been. So basically what this means is the auditor's office has been putting it out that they are paying them correctly, but they really haven't been. So they're not even following their own internal controls that would stop this from happening. That's why it's happening. They're just saying, yep, we're doing it right, but then they're not. Dude, that's really bad. All right. Further, this is nuts. Further, my office supply line item is over in the red by almost $2,700. I have another line that is $9,000 in the red. $9,000 in the red. How does this happen? In past years, if any of my lines went into the red, I was notified immediately and had to do transfers to shore the lines up. I would have had no idea had I not printed out my current budget status as of today. Heidi is currently going through all of our claims for 2024, and I will send a separate email to you and to Tanya with the results, but she has already found several instances where amounts were charged to this line that were clearly encouraged on this line. Wait, I got ahead. With the results, as she's already found several instances where amounts were charged to this line that were clearly indicated to come from another line on the claim form. I would encourage everyone to check your balances in your line items. Moving forward, can we make a policy from your office that if a line goes over, they notify the department head so it doesn't get so bad that we have to go back and go through all of the claims for the year to find the errors? Had I known that I was negative prior to today, I would have been investigating it before now and before I was thousands in the red. We are still having problems with bills being paid on time. Listen to this. This is your 911 director, folks, telling the people that are supposed to be allowing him to do his job without these kinds of headaches. We are still having problems with bills being paid on time. We just got a credit on our AT&T bill. We often get double billed because a bill doesn't get paid on time. That's unacceptable. Maybe it happens once. Maybe something happens, a claim doesn't get turned in, or someone drops. It's not supposed to happen like just frequently. This bill gets paid. The bill gets paid late, and then we pay a double bill, and then end up with a credit. I believe last month, the WEX bill for some departments was a month or two behind. A month or two, man. I had a $10,000 bill that was turned in right after it was received that wasn't paid on time, and I got a late notice a month and a half later. Thankfully, Tanya took care of that very quickly, and I am appreciative of that. I also want to go on record and state that I am completely against the encumbrance ordinance. Now listen to this. I am completely against the encumbrance ordinance that was introduced at the council meeting. It was my understanding this was something that you wanted. He's talking to Ed here. The budget is a yearly budget, and it is not appropriate, in my opinion, to make it so that early in the month, to make it so that anyone who needs to encumber money needs it done so early in the month. Oftentimes, we may not get bills until later in the month. Heck, even credit card bills won't be in time to encumber under the new proposal. While I don't think people should go on spending sprees at the end of the year, bills received prior to December 31st should be able to be encumbered out of the 2024 budget. I think the state even says this, as I mentioned at the last council meeting. We shouldn't be paying for things done or purchased in 2024 in the 2025 budget. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just common sense. Yeah, he's right. Also, as a side note, this is not something I personally believe should have been sprung on department heads without any input from us. I know I was completely blindsided by it, and others clearly were as well. It is often easy to make decisions or suggestions in a bubble, but it isn't a good idea when it involves so many other people and how we do business. During that same meeting, you chastised. Listen to this. This is good stuff. During that same meeting, you chastised Jessica and Matt for making your office drop everything to work on the ordinances for longevity experience, which needs to be solved so we can pay people in 2025 prior to 2025. We had many discussion on those ordinances and the need for them to solve the issue. But there was nothing said or discussed about the encumbrance ordinance prior to it being introduced in the meeting. I just find it hard to believe that this was something that came about all of the sudden and is something that the department heads should have some input in. Thanks for taking the time to read and consider my requests. I am in hopes that moving forward, we can come up with a way to make some of these things better as a team and possibly have better communication coming from your office to all of us. Fred Cummings. Now, this goes hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen, in what I was just talking to you about. The sheriff got up in today's meeting and asked them, hey, can you please let us see this credit card ordinance before you take it off the table and let us have some input? And they didn't even have the balls to tell him, hey, we already passed it. They said, yeah, we'll send it to you. Basically, they're like lying to him. That is a form of lying by omission. This is insane. Now, I do want to let you know that basically after Fred sent that out, okay, he sent it out at like 1:46 today, and it went out to everybody. That's how I have it. That's how I know about it. That's how we're talking about this right now, because he sent it to everyone. He was pissed, rightfully so. I mean, he rightfully had a reason to be pissed. Well, Ed Carroll responded to him a couple of hours later, and Ed says the following. Ed says, Fred, we have received your email and understand that you have several concerns. We are more than willing to work with any and all departments in hearing your concerns and looking into the details in order for everyone to be on the same page with the different subjects. What a weird ass line. If you or anyone else would like to go over the details and discuss, I would recommend that we do this in person. Maybe like a meeting. And he doesn't mean a council meeting or a commissioner's meeting. He means like a in-person, you come meet me, we'll talk.
He means off the record.
Yes. Ding, 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 ding. Rather than by email, because he does not want this shit in black and white. And he doesn't want it in black and white for this very reason. All of these communications, ladies and gentlemen, are public record. And he doesn't want people to know that other people are calling him out. Ed's narrative has been, well, it's just stupid Bilbrey and loudmouth Ryan that's calling me out. It's nobody, it don't matter. It's nothing. Now we know, hey, this is not true. We know Troy, Tony's called him out a couple different times for different things. Fred calls him out all the time. It's time, folks, for something to happen, because we have people that are working in the county that are working too damn hard and doing such a good job to be made to look like fools because we have an elected official who's not giving a damn about what his actual duty is.
Well, I just want to point out, this email isn't just said to Fred.
Yeah.
Tony and 24 others are carbon copied on this.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Tony is Sheriff Skinner.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is out there, and he's trying to get 26 people together.
Well, yeah.
To have a meeting off the record.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's going to happen. I'm
So
sorry.
let's talk about what's funny about this, because he sends this at 4:05. Now I want you to see what the next email is. The next email in this chain is, well, from none other than at 4:29, Mr. Delaware County Councilor Ryan Webb responds. Ryan Webb says, "What an absolute embarrassment. The auditor's office has been in shambles for almost 2 years now without any type of accountability. Everyone knows about it, but instead just tiptoes around the issue. Everyone also knows who is at fault for the dozens and dozens of failures out of that department. I think if we're being fair, then everyone would agree that after 2 years, the standard of excuses of everyone is new to the office or the auditor's office is going through growing pains of reorganization is no longer acceptable for these repeat failures. The citizens deserve better and the employees deserve better. Get it together. Ryan Webb, still a Delaware County councilman." Ryan sent this at 4:29. Look at what happens. Bing! 4:29. "Thank you for your email. I'm currently out of the office with little access to phone or email. I will return to the office on Tuesday, November 26th, 2024. That's a week. Why is he going to be out of the office for another week? Wait a minute. Didn't he just send an email wanting to get together for some meeting?
Wait a second. The 26th is Tuesday. So he'll go to work on Tuesday and Wednesday and then be off 5 days for frickin' Thanksgiving?
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Or do they get Wednesday off too?
I don't know if they get Wednesday off, but he won't be at work Wednesday. They won't be there Friday. They won't be there Thursday for the holiday. And I guarantee you he won't be at work Wednesday because very few of them are at work on Wednesday. Even if the building's open, he won't be there. But let's just understand this. He wasn't there last week. He's now not there this week. And he's going to be there he's not going to be at work Monday. You were wrong. You said he's going to work Monday and Tuesday. No, he's saying he will work Tuesday.
Oh, I thought I said Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay. You might have. I'm sorry. You might have. Well, keep in mind, Tuesday is the council meeting. So you mean he's not going to be a part of getting anything ready for the council meeting? So he's just going to show up at 9:00 on Tuesday and be like, "I'm here. I've been gone for the last 2 weeks, and I'm getting ready to take the rest of this week off too. But I'm here doing my job. I'm Ed. Big Ed." Folks, listen. Like Ryan, hate Ryan, but Ryan's been talking about this. Ryan has been talking about this. Okay, Ryan says this: "Would you be shocked to learn that not one person responded to the email?" Well, that goes pretty much in line with what I've heard. I've talked to a couple of other elected officials or department heads, and that's basically in line with what I've heard. And everybody's talking about this. Everybody knows it's a disaster. Everybody knows he's making a disaster of the party. Everybody knows he's making a disaster of the auditor's office. Everybody knows he's making a disaster of Delaware County government. But alas, here he still is. So maybe they'll do something. Maybe they won't. We don't know. Who the hell knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. Okay. So that's enough with that. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll let you know what's going to happen there. Something will happen soon enough. And we'll know, because look, the shit's hitting the fan. And just one way or another, it's happening. And I don't you know, I don't know what I really just don't know what he is going to be able to say to get out of this. And you know, I don't know. I think that he's going to continue being the screw up. So it is what it is. Okay. Now, to move on really quickly before we wrap this up, I do want to talk just a moment about this rift. The rift is growing wider. Yeah, all right, folks. So let's talk about this for a moment. Last night, towards the end of the show, I brought up the fact that this rift between Indiana Governor-Elect Mike Braun, Republican, and his Lieutenant Governor-Elect Micah Beckwith, better known on this program as the Boy Wonder, the rift is growing between these folks, and it is not a good thing. I want it to be known. People need to know. People need to be aware, because I don't want people to be confused. I don't want people. There are a lot of people out there, ladies and gentlemen, that are really looking up to Micah and thinking that Micah is going to come in and make these great big sweeping changes. And one of the things that I've been saying since July, definitely July forward, was that that's not going to happen. Not because I have any major problem with I don't really care for Micah, because I think that he's not what he portrays. I'm just gonna be real. I don't think he's what he portrays. He might be a good Christian. He might be a hell of a preacher, no pun intended. He might be great with all that. He might be a really good friend for JD and Rob and everything. But he is establishment all the way, people. And I'm just telling you, you can continue holding on to the dream, or you can start coming on to the realization. But the thing is, whether or not he's establishment in what he's going to do, he does talk a big game, and he does talk a big talk. And the things that he said and the things that he's done has put Mike Braun in a very sticky situation. And so Braun and co. have just said, screw it. All right, we're not going to deal with it. Braun's incoming chief of staff is Josh Kelly, and he does not like Beckwith at all. He has no use for Beckwith. So he's going to do whatever he can to trim the interactions with Beckwith down. He's going to do whatever he can to trim Beckwith's responsibilities down. And let's be clear, the rumor going around, I said this last night, but I want to be sure everyone's hearing me. Before the big day, before January 1st even gets here, they have already trimmed Beckwith down. Last week, on election night, Beckwith theoretically would be leading 1,000 or thousands of plus, 1,000 plus state employees. Well, that has been axed. And currently, theoretically, he's in charge of about 70. Now, listen, folks. The big draw of Beckwith is that he would be the second banana, but he was still going to be over agriculture, and he was going to be over the veterans initiatives, and he was going to be over the IDDC, which, for those of you, if you're like, wait, what's the IDDC? No, IDDC, which is Indiana Destination Development Corporation. And he's going to be over the broadband initiatives, and he's going to be over the next level. He's going to be over the defense development. No. Nope. Multiple sources are now reporting those things have been cut from him. They've been stripped from him. And the biggie, the big one, agriculture, it's next. Now, for all of those people saying, but wait a minute, how are they going to do that? Well, understand that the lieutenant governor's job is mostly a ceremonial position. It's mostly an honorary position. Not elected by the people. It's elected by the delegates. It does not. Most of those jobs that it had, most of those oversights, was not given to the office by statutory authority. It was not given by law. It was not given by the Indiana General Assembly. Most of those oversights have been given to the office over the years by governors. And as we know, in government like that, when it's something that's just handed like that, it can also be withdrawn like that. And it was Governor Eric Holcomb that wasn't really into the day-to-day that really opened it up and gave a lot more responsibility to Suzanne Crouch and let her deal with 1,000+ state employees. Well, Braun's saying no. Braun's whole thing is, I'm going to run this like a business, and I'm the CEO, and I'm in charge, and I'm going to do this. So that's his whole thing. No, I'm not going to delegate that out. And when he takes agriculture away from Beckwith, at that point, Beckwith would be best to. I was talking to someone today. I was talking to Ryan Webb, and Beckwith would be best to just continue being a constant candidate, because he's not going to have any role in the office. He'd be best to just go out and just continue hitting the circuit as long as people will listen to him. I don't know. Hell, he's not even in charge of hiring the parliamentarian anymore in the Senate. That's crazy. That's really crazy. So I just want people to not be confused. And then I on the backs of this, it's very important for people to be aware of Braun's main priorities. And when you think about that, I want to ask anybody that's here, think about it in your mind. What are Braun's main priorities? What's Braun's number one thing he's going to focus on day one? No, not from our perspective. Kate, maybe you could come up here and be the voice of the public. What have we been told that his number one priority would be?
His number one priority?
Yeah,
that he said, or what everybody else?
No. What are we being spoon-fed that his number one priority would be?
Oh, property taxes.
Property tax reform.
Property taxes are going to be huge.
Day one. I've heard him say the very first bill to come out of the Senate, the very first bill to come out of the House needs to be property tax reform. So I'm glad. Now, what have, like we said,
he's going to do shit about property taxes?
Yeah, that's probably more in line with what we've said, that he's not going to do that. Well, let me show you, and listen.
Oh, I have a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
Want to see it?
Yeah, I do. I'm really happy about this. Ha 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 ha! Yes! Wah, wah. All right, that's fantastic. I'll be able to work on that greatly. I love it. I love it. Put it back up.
You didn't, huh?
Put it back up real quick. I'll be able to work with that. That's good. That's some good shit. I hate it. It is what it is. But, listen, it's not always right to be right. It's not always fun to be right, but I can't help it. It is what it is. Listen, it's not just Braun just being Braun. It's also the establishment. The establishment is involved with this. And it's not just wacko, crazy Kristopher Bilbrey coming up with this and crazy Kate and us here. It's the establishment wing. And when I say that, it's not like it's a faction. It's the main establishment grouping of the Indiana State Republican establishment assholes that are starting to drip this out, almost like they're trying to get us to like pick it up unconsciously and like be aware of by the time that January 1st comes around, folks, that essentially we're going to have the understanding that it's over. So everyone is aware today's the 18th. There are 44 more days left until the big day, January 1st. There are 63 days left until the Donald is sworn in. So we're going to start keeping a track of both of those.
So basically, they have 44 days to convince Hoosiers that property taxes really aren't that bad and they don't need to do anything about it.
Yep, that's exactly. And
Okay.
again, it's not just us saying this. Look at this. This is from State Affairs. Senate leader suggests property tax tweaks rather than overhaul. Braun seeks. Well, that's nice. It rhymes. It sounds wonderful. Senate leader suggests property tax tweaks rather than overhaul. Braun seeks. Published today by Tom Davies. Let's take a look at what he has to say here. Indiana House Speaker Todd Houston. Whoa. That's interesting. Todd Houston speaking alongside House Majority Leader Phil Quinte and Indiana Chamber of Commerce President Vanessa Green. Senators during a chamber program on Monday, November 18th. I didn't get the picture because I don't care what those people, you all know who they are, what they look like. I didn't care to see them again. It's the text that matters. The state Senate top Republican threw out some cold water Monday on the prospects of major property tax overhaul that Governor-Elect Mike Braun has said is among his top priorities. Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray also said during the Indiana Chamber of Commerce annual legislative preview program that a cigarette tax increase would be considered. Yay! Morality us to death. Republican House Speaker Todd Houston, meanwhile, told reporters that casino-related matters could be back on the table after a hiatus last session because of bribery scream involving former lawmaker. Listen. It's time for these damn people to nut up or shut up. And what I'm hearing just there is stupid. Leave the cigarettes alone. Leave the casinos alone. Property tax, you fools. Hold up on property tax reform? Question mark? What? Gray said that property tax concerns were the most frequent topic raised by constituents, but we certainly don't give a shit. But that significant reforms could take more than one legislative session to tackle. We have some challenging, protracted problems that we're going to work on this year. Property tax is one of them, Bray said. I don't know that you'll see really big changes happen this year. Maybe some tweaks to kind of help people feel maybe less of a pinch than they have.
Make people feel like they didn't get fucked over and lied to again?
No, people are gonna feel like that. I don't think it's gonna be big enough to make even people feel like that. No, I think that they're gonna try to convince us that this is not what we wanted. You know, they've got 45 days to go on this spree of trying to convince us you did not want property tax. Yes,
this is better.
Yes,
this will be better.
Yes. Yep. Bray's comments stand in contrast to the property tax overhaul Braun pushed during his gubernatorial campaign. which was like they're talking about this like it's sometime in the way distant past. It was just 2 weeks ago. Okay, which called for a 3% annual cap on property tax bill increase and a reset 2021 tax levels for owner-occupied homes. Braun said during a post-election news conference on November 6th that he wanted the property tax topic to have a symbolic high priority designation of a low bill number for the 2025 legislative session. Isn't that cute? It's like that dude's been a senator for the last 6 years, and before that, he was in Indiana State House, and he still doesn't know how it works. That's hilarious. I was the first out. Oh, my God. He's already lying. I was the first out on reforming property taxes. No, you weren't, you lying sack of shit. You didn't start talking about property taxes until after the primary was over. You started talking about it in July, dude. Listen, this is how they fool you. Don't buy it. There will be people that'll read that and will be like, yep, he was. I know, I heard him. No, he was not. Hopefully that can be Senate Bill 1. House Bill 1, and do it in a way that builds on the platform I put out there. And I think I'll get that done. We'll get that done, Braun said. That has been by far the thing I've heard the most about over the last 2 years. Braun's transition team did not immediately respond Monday to State Fair's request for comment about Bray's remarks. Some proposals on tax reforms could come from the legislature's state and local Tax Review Task Force, which is set to vote Wednesday on its final report and recommendations. That, ladies and gentlemen, is 2 days, and I got my eyeballs all over that. We'll be talking about that on Wednesday evening. Houston told reporters Monday, we've got a problem. He looked forward to cooperating with Braun on the property tax issue and find the right balance on all of this. And by that, he means Braun will cooperate or else. During the state chambers program, Houston defended Indiana's tax structure and said it was contributing better economic growth than most other states. Yay. The fact of the matter is we're attracting people and attracting investment, Houston said. A lot of the reason we've done that is that we've got a great tax system, a stable tax system, and a reliable tax system. Tax you right out of your ass. If they can, tax you right out of your own ass if they can. Senate could back cigarette tax increase. Why not? The state chamber, in coalition with health groups, has pushed for several years for a $2 per pack increase in Indiana cigarette tax. One of these days, you're going to have to get it out a 10-year mortgage to buy a pack of cigarettes. I could have went and bought an $80,000 Dodge pickup truck, but instead I bought an $80,000 pack of cigarettes. But the last serious attempt to do so was blocked by Senate Republicans in 2021 after the House endorsed a 50-cent per pack increase that kept the tax at the current 99.5 cents per pack rate. That was last raised in 2007. Bray said Monday that a cigarette tax increase was more likely this upcoming session. He cited the need for additional Medicaid funding following the nearly $1 billion expense forecasting error made last year. If only we had a big pile of money where they could take care of that from. There's some added motivation to maybe do this tax as a result of that, to try to help shore that up a little bit, Bray said. Houston and Bray decided a year ago to take no action on legislation for expanded gambling amid the federal investigation that resulted in criminal corruption charges against former Representative Sean Elbert related to the 2019 casino legislation. Houston said that the hiatus might be over with State Affairs asked whether lawmakers could consider the request for full house resorts or to transfer the license of its Rising Star Casino resorts in Rising Sun to New Haven, just outside Fort Wayne. I think we'll have conversations around that. Houston said, I think those bills are always challenging and complicated, but I know it's an issue that people want to discuss. So I imagine those conversations will take place. I'm not sure if any action will take place around them. Property tax over any of this shit, man. What in the hell? There that is. And that's where you can find and reach and follow. So, yeah, dude, prepare to get screwed by anything that you wanted to get from Braun or Beckwith and that whole mess. It is going to be Holcomb 2.0. And I am sorry to say, probably for the first time ever, I told you so. I told you so. I always say I don't say that. And I'm not going to say it much after this. But anytime we talk about Braun and anytime we talk about Beckwith and anytime there is a screw up there, I am going to tell you I told you so hard. So hard on this. Because I'm sick of idiots doing the wrong thing with their vote because they're afraid to do the right damn thing because of a stupid letter. I told you so, man. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. Just FYI. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. The last thing that I want to say before we roll out of here. Oh, man, I didn't get to the question. I will do that first thing tomorrow. I will get to McKinney's question. I am so sorry. I'll take that off of the description. I'll put that on tomorrow. We have a question from an audience member about what to do in the event of elected officials violating your rights. And I want to give some time to it. So we will talk about that tomorrow. But the because it deserves actual time. I do want to show you one interesting little thing here before we go. And that is this. This is oh, this is so hilarious to me. I just don't even know. I don't even know what to do with this. This is comical. I want you all to look at this for a minute. Okay? This is my good friend, former friend. I mean, I don't know. This is a radio personality called Rob Kendall. Some of you may know him. Rob Kendall has spent his entire time as a radio personality going after the hacks in the establishment Republican Party because that's what you should be doing if you're being honest. However, this year it changed because he had a friend running for an office that he wanted to back, and so he sold his soul for this. Well, today at 5:53 p.m., Rob posted this. Well, guys, we're going to find out if Braun for Indiana is going to be a one-term governor or not. I have confidence he wants to win re-election and is going to tell Rob Bray where to stick his tweaks. But Robbie knows exactly what's going to happen. That's not going to happen, my guy. That is not going to happen. Then, ironically enough, just a couple of hours later, he says, Rod Bray has done an awful job running the Indiana Senate. Look forward to our audience shutting down Senate mailboxes in a few months if he arrogantly defies Braun for Indiana property reform mandate. Braun did not have a mandate. Go back, listen to the Tony Katz interview with Braun on Wednesday, November the 6th, Wednesday, November 6th. Braun says, well, we got a mandate. And Tony Katz says, no. we don't use that word here. You don't have a mandate. You did not get a mandate. He did not have a mandate. He does not have a mandate. He doesn't care about property taxes. He just wanted to get elected. He is Holcomb 2.0. Congratulations, Rob. You helped elect Holcomb 2.0. Look, right there. Right there it is. Right here it is. I mean, look, Rob is now in the uh-oh, I screwed up category. Uh-oh. Now what? Uh-oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen. McKinney, I'm so sorry. So sorry. I will get to your question. Your question deserves more than just a fleeting out the door answer. I will respond and I will spend, that'll be the first thing that we talk about tomorrow. So tune in. I promise I'll get to you. It was a good question. It is a good question and it deserves good answers. Tune in tomorrow. We'll have a lot to talk about. Tomorrow will be episode 334. It'll be the Tuesday show. And we will see you all then. We'll see what goes on in Delaware County government. I've got some more records I'm searching for, reference the Gaston situation. And I've got some things for Muncie. And of course, we'll be following what's going on here. Oh, and of course, we're still following closely what's going on the national front. Every day I'm getting more and more happy about how things are going nationally. If only we could get the local government and the state government in check with what's going on nationally, we would all be happy, singing happy songs. Even Tweety Bird would love it, I promise. All right. If you guys could do us a favor, hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Comment on the right. Comment below. And please help us by sharing the show with everyone you know. Nationwide UFO 101. Nope. Tweety Bird says, well, Tweety Bird, you'll be happy if none of that crazy shit happens and things are better. I would assume that you would be happy. Like you would have to be happy. Or if none of that crazy shit that you think is going to happen happens, if none of it happens and things are better, are you still just going to be like, no, I'm unhappy just because I'm unhappy? There's no way. Good night, Tweety Bird. As always, we love everybody here. Thank you all so much. Good night. Take care. Good night, Ed. Wherever you are, Ed, seeing red. Take care. God bless. Until we meet again. Goodbye.